Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel and we are going to go into another King John faction dive. Focus. Yeah, cool. I wouldn't say deep dive because we're not going through everything in the book.
We've been here for a long time, we're doing deep dives as well.
Yeah.
Particularly with this
next faction
yes.
we're going to cover.
Yeah.
So we're just going to kind of, like, for better word, cherry pick the things that really stand out to us.
And we're looking at...
And we're looking at the mercenaries. yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
So the mercenaries are quite interesting. Obviously, they're not tied to a particular baron, faction, nation, you know, whatever you want to call it. Really, they are mercenaries, and very different to, you know. The kind of dirty word mercenaries. These are professional paid soldiers, you know. But as a result, they can only be led by a lord at maximum. You can't take a baron.
I do love the way that Charlie kind of like explains things with almost a historical light in the background shining through. Where if it's me, I'd be like, oh, the mercenaries are awesome because they've got several units you can attach to different retinues that can do different jobs.
Well, so speaking of which, so you've alluded to, I think what's most interesting is that they can form a combined retinue with a feudal European retinue, a Poitevin retinue, a Flemish retinue, etc. So we'll get into that after we've taken a look at the mercenaries
step by step
by themselves.
Oh, even sorry.
So you were going to take a look at the traits.
Yes, we'll look at the faction traits first of all for the mercenaries. So they've got two quite interesting ones. Number one, the paid hirelings, they do not need to commit 10% on green troops, which you'd expect from a mercenary unit. You know, you've got
professionally paid soldiers,
a roaming band of, you know, experienced soldiers. So
swords for hire.
Yeah, having 10% green in there doesn't really fit the bill.
No.
So
unless they've had a lot of casualties and they need to, you know,
backfill in the ranks.
So you can take green if you want to, but you're not subject to the minimum 10%. And
the other one is incendiaries. Now, I find this one extremely interesting when we come on further down the structure of the lists. So groups in a mercenary retinue can claim or contest objectives if they're 4 inches away rather than 3. Also, when determining which side has more warriors within range of an objective, count mercenary warriors which are within 4 rather than 3 as well for the contest.
Yeah.
We all know that an inch in the Baron's War game, it does mean a lot. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
That could mean you know, a reposition or getting over a piece of terrain. It does make a difference. And so when I first read it, I was like, oh, that's okay. But then I thought, and I was like, ooh,
yeah,
actually, depending on the board, depending on the terrain, that could be huge.
It's also really easy to look at this extra inch as though, like, on a tape measure, it's that. But when it's a bubble around an objective, that 4 inches is much bigger than you think it is. Yeah.
Well, it's 2 inches either side.
Yeah.
You know, effectively. Yeah. So that's a great faction trait to have, and coupled with what we're going to come on to in a moment, can really add utility to either a combined list or a organic mercenary list
on their own list. So one of the other things I think is quite interesting, what makes them very unique, is pretty much every unit gets access to another ability, which is their mercenary company, which depends on where they come from. So they could be Brabancon mercenaries, which gives them that re-roll that we looked at previously on their attack dice pools, or their Flemish mercenaries, where they gain the ability to ignore 1 morale penalty for every other friendly Flemish group nearby.
6 inches line of sight.
Yeah.
And then my personal one, because you know there's so many variations you can do with this, is the Gascon ability. Is it the Poitevin?
Poitevin had the Gascon, yeah.
This group can move across difficult terrain as if it was passable, which doesn't then qualify to cavalry moving into woods. In addition, if groups fight a melee, where either participating group is in area terrain, it counts as the enemy having 1 additional morale penalty when calculating morale melee modifier. So you think about that in the role you want these mercenaries to play, then all of a sudden it just highlights a creeping scale of game
Yeah, and I think the one thing it's worth noting, you can only take one of these per mercenary retinue.
Combined or
list.
standalone, yeah.
Yes,
you can't take two units of Flemish and a unit of Gascon. You can't do that. That would be too good.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
But you could take some Gascon mercenaries in a combined retinue list alongside some Flemish, if you wanted to. Or you could take them alongside some feudal Europeans, etc. So to give you, like as Guy said, depending on what you want them to do, is determined by what rules you want to give them in their retinue list.
Absolutely, and no game, no army list, for better wording, has perks across the board. There is always a element that you have to play to maximise their efficiency. This just allows you to add that utility with certain groups that a retinue may lack due to your style of play or whatever. But then you've got an easy solution here. Yes, you have to pay for a combined list, but what better way to bring a combined or allied unit in that really has some weight behind it?
That's what they were there for as well, right?
Exactly.
Mercenaries.
They're mercenaries.
Yeah.
So I think it adds a real depth of flavour to every aspect of the Baron's War. You want to bring some new models, you want to bring different models, different coloured models, whatever the case may be, but that have a real impact on the tabletop as well.
Yeah.
A real impact when combined with some of their inherent abilities and their purchasable abilities with the traits. There will be some very interesting lists come to light that I can't wait to drill into myself, and I can't wait to see.
So let's take a look at some of their unit profiles. So
okay. Oh yes.
Maximum level commander, as we said, is a lord. Mercenary lord. He comes with chivalry, commander, live by the sword. He has access to all the weapons all the other lords have: battle axe, sword, falchion, two-handed, blah blah. He comes with mail, all the shields, and he can have command group upgrades of pennant, musician, priest. So he doesn't get a banner. He can only have a pennant, musician, priest. And then you can take him with knights or mercenary sergeants. And then there's a mounted version, which is exactly the same, but on a horse.
But there is a way to mitigate the... No, he does come with a banner. Sorry, the ranged. Pennant. Sorry, I missed that. Because he's a lord.
Yes, rather than of course, rather than a baron. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you've got the mercenary capitano, which is basically a sergeant that has elevated himself to being a very wealthy paid sword for hire. He comes with commander, live by the sword. He comes with martial respect though, and I really like the martial respect rule.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out there, mate. Want to know on the mercenary lord, they can't take the
mercenary lord as
a mercenary company trait.
No, they don't get the trait.
The mercenary capitano can.
Yes, which is really worth looking at, because again, if you're trying to get that synergy with all of your different
especially with the Flemish
rules,
one, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to have a standalone without that rule, because then you're really limiting yourself.
Agreed.
I just saw that.
Agreed.
I've just seen that. So, interesting.
So he has that martial respect ability, which I really like. So when a friendly group takes a morale check within 6 inches of a group with this ability, roll 2d10 and use the highest result. So, we've seen that on mercenaries. It's really cool to see it on this mercenary capitano. It's just that ability to manipulate morale checks, which I really like. Yeah. Padded mail, medium, large shield.
The usual...
Pennant, musician,
old hand.
No priest.
No priest, old hand.
He gets the old hand.
Yeah, this is good.
So you can take an old hand as an upgrade. It costs 5 points. So it's a pricey upgrade. However, he has his own ability, react. So once per round, a single friendly mercenary group in command range and line of sight of the old hand may be given a free reaction. This is a bonus reaction with no command, action, or order check required.
Which is the kicker right there. It's certainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's free.
It's 5 points, but it's free. Yeah.
Yes, very true.
No, I'm joking. Sorry.
Yes, yeah.
It is free, and but that leans into what I imagine a mercenary company, a commander to be.
Yeah, 100%.
There's got to be, you're paying for these guys, come on.
There's loads of flavour, I think, and the flavour all leans into exactly that, is who they are.
Yep.
So you can have a command group of mercenary sergeants, and then there is a mounted version, which is exactly the same, but you would go with mounted sergeants. You can still take some knights, which is cool.
I actually quite like that. I don't think I would.
No.
But it's nice to have the option to.
Very true, very true. They don't get the mercenary company
Raw, even
rule,
though, because
though,
that'd be too much.
It would probably make them a bit too good, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
so there's also
knights, they're above that now.
Yeah, very true. Yes, yeah. You also have mounted knights, again, same as all the other mounted knights. Mercenary sergeants. Same as the sergeants you would see in most of the other lists. They come with martial respect. They have the same access to all the same weapons, armor, shields, but again they can have the mercenary company ability, and you pay the points depending on what it is, whether it's Brabancon, Flemish, or Gascon. Marksman sergeants, again, they have martial respect and marksman. And they have the mercenary company ability.
Okay, so couple that with a Gascon unit of marksman sergeants that can move unhindered.
Through woods.
Through
ruins.
Scenario, top of my head, sorry. You've got your marksman sergeants behind some line of sight blocking. End of turn, before the housekeeping, near off. You move them through a wood. So they're not a perceived threat, and then you unleash. But they are unhindered moving through that wood, and you order them to do something else. 8 times out of 10, the unit you're going to be shooting at that point of the turn may be weary.
Yeah.
Who knows? Your opponent could have. So I think there's lots of utility here to create that scenario for yourself. Yeah. And there's nothing better than seeing your tactics play off on the tabletop.
Yeah.
Unless you mean a roll nothing but ones, but still, it's
unless
good
it's
to see.
defense dice. So we've then got your mounted sergeants, again, very similar to the rest. Mercenary bowmen, they come with measured shots, which I quite like, on the regular plus.
Yes, instead of every bloody Sunday, which I do like measured shots.
Yeah, measured shots, that's the one that gives you an extra die if you've stayed still, right?
Pull if you stay still.
Yeah, +1 attack dice provided the group did not move,
It's not like I like it more than every bloody Sunday, but the way I play, I prefer that.
Yeah, it's just you've got it.
The 3-inch move's great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I like
extra
attrition.
dice. Yeah, extra dice is good.
Some people like moving.
And then my favourite unit so far, I think, in the book is the cutthroats. You get some mercenary cutthroats. What's really cool here is they get the Poitevin list, where you if you take them at green or a regular, they are gutter thugs. If you take them regular plus, they're old soldiers. You can take them all the way up to veteran again. Same access to weapons that the Poitevin cutthroats had, but they get that mercenary company ability.
Exactly. So that extra layer on all of these units really adds a specific role, or could be a specific role for these guys. So, instead of looking at a unit and going, okay, you could do A, B, C, well, I'm just going to go for A star.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea, right, of having a Capitano, taking them with the Brabancon rule, so where in melee combat the group may reroll all attack dice in any of its attack dice pools, and then just taking 3 units of cutthroats, and that is my combined mercenary retinue to go with any other list.
It's pretty savage.
Because I just want those old soldiers, where what's the old soldiers giving them again? The free attack back reaction, and they have then the chance to pick up and re-roll all those dice if it doesn't go your way. I just love it. Yeah, I want a bunch of cutthroats that I'm just throwing into a list as I've hired these cutthroats to come in and cause a bit of havoc.
Well, it does open the door now to having multiple mercenary units to accompany one of my 2 armies that I've got on the field, just not to plug the gap, because every army can plug the gap.
Yeah, of course. But if you just want that thing that they just don't, the thing that they just don't do.
Yeah, they can do it better than some.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we go into ability?
Well, last one, because there's one more unit which I do also really like. It's
the
bandits. Green, irregular, or regular, but they have 2 great abilities: forage which is really cool. Forager, sorry. A group with this ability counts as having 2 extra warriors when claiming an objective.
So couple that with their inherent trait of being 4 inches away, so all of a sudden you've got double the warriors at a further distance contesting objectives.
Yeah, and if they are regular, they lose rabble, which is quite good. Now, rabble can be really helpful if you use it right, but
too swingy for me.
In this instance, you would probably take them as regular bandits with forager, and they're just there to mop up your objectives.
And David, we're not trying to cheese the game here. It's just exciting. We always say that 50% of a game is off-board. It's what we talk about in our spare time.
It's exactly what we're doing now.
It's what we're doing now. You know, I messaged him saying, what do you think about this list? And like, no, that's useless because of A, B, whatever. But it's still the interactive piece off board. And this opens up more so, I think, than some of the other lists do.
Yeah.
Because there's infinite combinations you
it's
can do.
It's just a little sprinkling of spice, isn't it?
No, this is a bucket of spice. There's so much you can do. Too much for us to go through completely.
Yes.
So,
all the combinations you could do between different retinues and the mercenaries, etc. The only thing is they're not happy to they're not happy to be a combined retinue with outlaws. With outlaws, they only form allies.
And a combined retinue, as it states in the book, has more benefits than allied retinue. But I think, very, very quickly, I think anybody can ally with anybody.
Yes. So there is a table in the back of the King John book that goes into allied and combined retinues, and the mercenaries can form a combined retinue with anybody apart from the outlaws.
Which is better than allied.
Yeah. So basically, combined retinues allow you to use the overall retinue leaders command and so on and so forth, whereas the allied, they can't use the commanders from the allied retinue.
They can combine with themselves.
They can combine with themselves as well, yeah. So you could have some Brabancon mercenaries and some Gascon or some Flemish and some Gascon.
Stop. Okay.
The options are endless. But it's really, it just adds a whole new layer to the game, this idea of allied retinues and combined retinues. Some like each other, some don't, so your Scottish can't combine with Poitevin, but they can ally with them. Your Welsh pretty much don't like to ally with anybody, combine with anybody other than Welsh or mercenaries. But they can form allied retinues. So you have got that ability to kind of combine anybody, but they won't always enjoy doing it as much as they will others.
Yeah, which is fine. Again, that table, I'm never going to memorise that. And I don't know, I might put some French with... No, I'm joking. Okay, so abilities then. The inheritabilities of the mercenaries. Is there anything that we haven't covered before?
No, I think there's more flavour in the purchasable abilities
than there is the inheritability. The inheritabilities are, I'm not going to say fairly the same. You know, they've got live by the sword, gutter thug, marksman, martial respect, etc.
Things we've seen in other rosters.
But the retinue-specific abilities.
I think what it does, or what you'll find in here, is exactly what you've alluded to already. It will further allow you to tailor your mercenaries to do the role you want them to do. So, you know, for example, you want to make them sturdy, sticking around, you would buy professional. You know, the group may re-roll order tests.
Yep.
So combine that with your Flemish and stuff where you're getting the bonuses to your morale. You've got that ability to re-roll those tests too. Cruelty, I always think, is quite a fun one for your commander. Makes their melee attacks. Enemy warriors in base contact must re-roll 1 successful defense dice from the commander's attack dice pool.
Yeah.
I really like Steal from the Rich.
Yeah, I read that, and then I read the bold text commander only. So
yes.
I thought, what? Yeah.
So, if directly contesting an objective with an enemy command group, it may always count as being held by this commander, which is good fun.
It's great fun. But then looking at the mercenary commanders, I wouldn't like to put them toe-to-toe with the Baron.
No, very true. No, very true.
Unless their retinue, or unless their group they're attached to is like...
hard as nails. Yeah. Warwise is really good though. I like
Warwise
this one.
Is great, yeah.
So once per game they may choose to ignore a single casualty. So again, you know, you're sticking your mercenaries out there. You want them to last. You've got them on an objective, or you've got them primed for a great counterattack, but someone's trying to spring your trap early. You can hang on to that extra dude without losing him. It's
And Andy's gonna absolutely shoot me for saying this, but scenario.
Yeah.
Ignore a single casualty. Now, I presume that the player receiving the casualty will pick that casualty.
yes, yeah. I think that's fair.
So what about if it's your lord?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, well, may only be chosen by a regular or veteran group. So theoretically, it can go on a veteran command group
Or a regular command.
Or a regular command group.
If,
for that
if your
matter,
commander snuffs it and you can choose to ignore it.
yeah, too right. Yeah.
He's going to hate me for saying that.
I mean,
it's
you
not in
would.
the spirit of the game, guys.
If it's a mercenary lord, though, you know, like,
Yeah.
or your mercenary capitano, who we know is not as survivable because he's just a capitano.
Oh, dear.
War-wise, yeah, it's.
God, I've had the book
Very
2 days and I'm
interesting.
already cheesing it. No,
I'm not surprised.
No, Lucky's pretty cool as well. I like Lucky.
Lucky may
Yeah.
choose to re-roll ones for any roll directly associated with the commander. Yeah, so
roll.
determining initiative.
Initiative,
Yeah.
attacks, defense, checks, anything. You re-roll ones. I like that. And you look at the probability on a
Oh,
D10.
that's like
blanket.
game wide.
It's blanket. So you look at the probability of a D10 and how many dice you're going to roll throughout the game.
The entire game, yeah,
That-
yeah.
that
Well, every
full-
10 dice, you're
you're going to
have a one somewhere.
That one. So that 4 points can really shift the scale of probability.
I mean, how?
Yeah.
I suppose if you're really struggling to choose what to pick, you pick lucky, right? Like you just do. Or war-wise. On your commander, I'm
I'll
talking
take
about
both.
here, yeah.
I would take both.
Can you take both? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is there a limit on how many abilities you can take per?
On your commander?
You can't duplicate abilities across groups, so you
Yeah.
can't have 3 groups with drilled, brought, unless they have inherit. But I don't know about buying certain amounts. Maybe.
I have to double check.
I have to double check that. Again,
So the comments in the below if you know.
yeah,
better than
if you
we
know
do.
the answer, please tell us, because again, there's loads of game systems and I've got 7 in my head right now.
Yeah.
We played Death Fields yesterday. Yeah.
So that's the Mercenaries. I think they add a huge amount of flavour to the game. I think where they shine is in those combined retinues.
Yes.
However, I think they stand quite heavily by themselves as long as you know what you're trying to do with this mercenary company.
Massively.
You know?
As a standalone unit, they are still a creditable force. But their
Definitely.
real strength, in my mind, is an attachment
As a
to an
combined
existing
retinues, yeah.
combined retinue.
Brilliant. So
yeah.
we're back with the Scottish next, I believe.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Tell me what's next.
What's the next one? What's the next one?
It's definitely Scottish.
Scottish, yeah,
I know
there you
that.
go.
So I took that photo, I know that.
There we go, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see you next time, and thank you very much for tuning in. Again, please leave any comments below, and, yeah, we'll see you next time.